Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hot 97 News. This is a brand new live news show where we talk about all the biggest stories across the country. It is Wednesday, February 4th, and I'm your host, Lana Harris, here with Rondell with two N's.
What's happening?
And Million.
Hey.
And it is still Black History Month.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we get to start the show off talking about us.
Yeah.
So here is Rondell with two N's with 1 minute of Black excellence.
Yes. 1 minute of Black excellence. So today's fact is Fritz Pollard was the first Black head coach in NFL's history in 1920. And he wasn't just a coach, he was playing at the same time, all right? And he also led the Akron Pros to the league's first championship. Then the NFL said, hey, let's not do that again, all right? And they quietly shut out Black players for years. Pollard won the championship and unlocked the hardest difficulty setting on Madden, all right? And that is your 1 minute of Black excellence.
Okay.
Wow.
Shout out to Fritz Pollard, man, being the first Black head coach and player. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's wild.
You know what? It's even crazier just how much strife Black people have had in sports in general. Like,
Yeah.
y'all just don't let people play. Who cares?
Well, they knew how good we were, and then they were like, "Yeah,
Wait a minute.
We made this sport for us." All right, that's how they did with pickleball, and then Black people found it. Now it's about to be over with. You know what I mean?
Listen, you know, it probably does suck when you feel like, okay, I made this, and then, you know, when you introduce somebody to something and then they get better at you than that?
100%.
Oh, yeah. So I kind of get it.
Dang,
Shout out to
crazy.
Fritz, man. Shout out to Fritz.
We
Yeah.
legit take over every sport now that I think about it. I was like, golf, they probably still got it, but golf, we got Tiger Woods. Tennis, we got Serena, Venus,
Coco.
Coco.
Yeah.
Like, we be eating them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
They don't get nothing.
Nothing.
We coming for NASCAR next. That's what we got.
We got Lewis Hamilton, F1. What do you mean?
Dang, we everywhere. We everywhere.
We all over the place, brother. Huh?
No, ice hockey.
There's a few Black people in ice hockey that are good.
Yeah.
You know any of them?
Got Donald Young pickleball. You know what I mean? We got a few. It's a lot of us out there. Don't get
Okay,
it-
you know,
Yeah.
ice hockey.
Don't, but I'll look one up.
That'll be a fun fact one of these days.
I'll find one.
Oh, man. Well, getting into the news, the Republicans did it. They got the government reopened without the Democrats, who all voted against it. Remember, this is the spending package that the Department of Homeland Security, the DHS funding, was taken out of. The compromise was to only fund that, DHS, for 2 weeks so lawmakers could renegotiate some ICE reforms. But the rest of the spending package did have bipartisan support. The House Democrats just voted no because they didn't have a guarantee that after 2 weeks, Republicans would actually agree on ICE reforms. They just agreed to talk about it. But they were also joined by one Republican, Thomas Massie. He was the lone Republican who voted no. And Thomas Massie actually hopped on X and said, yeah, I did it. I voted no. And he actually went into detail about what's in the spending package that some people may not actually know about. So we have a few of the screenshots, and he actually, if you go onto his Twitter or his X page, he actually gave you another screenshot of the bill, like what was in the language of it, if you want to go look this up yourself. But here it is. If you go back to the other screen, $5 billion to provide cash benefits, healthcare, daycare, and job programs to refugees on the taxpayer's dime. $315 million to fund the CIA's branch of the State Department that propagandizes and destabilizes the globe and has a particular interest in censorship and attacking conservative media outlets. $3.3 billion to Israel. Oh, and an extra $500 million for Israel. Those were like kind of defense and military finance program related. And then you had $1.5 billion for Egypt. Got to make sure we cover both sides of the Suez, he says. Can't let the Jordanians feel left out with $2.1 billion to them. Nearly $700 million for foreign HIV/AIDS funding, and that is certainly what he says he thinks about when buying groceries back home in Kentucky. And we have what he says they refused to look into, which was his amendment to prevent the government from installing a kill switch in your personal vehicles, which we talked about here. His amendment to freeze the funds for daycare fraud. His amendment to stop warrantless surveillance of Americans via loopholes in the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. He had his amendment to end the propagandizing of U.S. citizens by the State Department and the U.S. Agency for Global Media. Blocked was also his amendment to stop the creation of central bank digital currencies that will be used for financial surveillance and control of your wallet. And most importantly, he feels the inclusion of the SAVE Act, which he says was supposed to be to protect our elections from illegal aliens, a top priority for conservatives.
Dang. So they was just giving money out like Oprah for a while. They was like about to start just giving money out like Oprah. He was like, no, we not finna do that.
Oh, no, though they did.
Oh, that's what they did.
They did.
I thought he signed that to block that.
That's what he tried to
do.
block.
Okay,
right,
got
correct.
you,
He
got you,
voted
got
no.
you.
He was the only Republican who voted no.
Got you.
And everybody was saying, oh my God. And because he got a lot of flack for that. Like if you look at his comment section, there are a lot of conservatives who are not happy with him right now. And they're saying, you may as well just switch parties. You're a traitor. How could you do this? Because Republicans were supposed to stand together to reopen this. They could only lose like one vote, and otherwise it was going to fail. And he was that one vote. So they feel like, he went against the party, but that's why he put out a list of like, this is what they decided to do. And this is what I was hoping they would do. And a lot of it he feels like were very conservative things that he feels like the conservative party traditionally wants to see. And he was like, well, why aren't we talking about this kind of stuff? And why are we giving so much money away?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's safe to say that our government officials have been compromised by Egypt or something. Maybe or other countries. I'm not going to say any specific names at all.
But shout out Egypt.
Real
Shout out to Egypt.
real quick.
Who got less money.
But who else would I say? Who else would I possibly shout out? I don't know. You tell me, Lana.
You the one who said it.
Oh,
what?
okay. All right. I was just saying, I mean, I seen Egypt get all that money. So, why are we giving so much money to Egypt? What's going on, Egypt? What's going on, politicians?
Gave a lot of money to Israel
they got
and to Jordan.
They got $3 billion.
I missed that.
$3 billion,
Did you actually?
I missed that. Right?
$3.3 billion. They got the most money and then an extra $500 million.
Yeah, so shout out to Israel? Like what?
Chill. You can't say that. You can't say that.
Literally, I'm just going by what you said.
That's what they did.
I said Egypt. I was going for maybe even Jordan next. I wasn't thinking about Israel.
Oh, my bad. So they're only giving them a 2-week trial run on this? This is
So all that has been decided.
Okay.
The only thing that's not decided in this funding package here is the DHS funding. And that was because DHS funding has ICE funding locked within it because ICE is under DHS. And they're trying to say, hey, we would like to talk about some ICE reforms, body cams, taking the masks off,
100%.
not doing the roving patrols anymore. We're going to renegotiate that part. So that is what separated that out. But that's why he was saying, like, this is not good enough for me, not because of the ICE stuff, but for the rest of this stuff. This is all of what's in the funding package that they agreed on. The government is in debt. We're like $38 trillion in debt. Why is our money going to Israel, Egypt, and Jordan for their defense spending? Now, the answer to that, if you probably ask the U.S., is that these are our allies. These are our military partners. We need them to be strong. If they're strong, we're strong. We're in allegiances, and it is what it is. But at the same time, there's an argument to be made, which is what Thomas Massie was kind of saying here is, we got problems here.
Yeah.
Grocery prices are high here. What is all this $3 billion, $2 million, $1 billion going out to other countries for when we could spend this stuff right here?
And ain't we in debt though?
Yes.
Like, ain't we in $1 trillion of debt?
Trillions.
So what? Where this money coming from, bro? You talking about $3.3 billion given to Israel? Why have you paying some of this debt off? Because if y'all don't start paying this debt off, I ain't gonna start paying mine off. And now what? We all in trouble. Now what? Now everybody in trouble. now we all sitting here with our hands up like this, like, oh no, what am I? Like, bruh, $300 million is crazy. When, just like you said, there's people here in America that still need help. The homeless still need places to stay. People still can't eat. SNAP benefits, there's so many things going on here. Fix your own house first before you try to go fix somebody else's house. We can't go make everybody great. Y'all want to make America great again, but yet you trying to make other countries great again. What are we talking about? Am I tripping?
No, you're not tripping. Yeah, we got to stop giving money away to to Egypt. My bad. We got to stop giving money away to Egypt. We can't keep doing that, bro. Egypt, what's going on,
Wait, why? What's the thing with Egypt? I'm
Oh,
confused.
in the comments, we see you guys. You guys got some theories. It's saying U.S. pays Egypt to contribute to the cover-up of the real technology behind the pyramids.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's funny.
That's a good
I
one.
feel like we were actually just talking about the pyramids the other day,
We were
actually.
just talking about the
What are the
pyramids
odds?
the other day.
You guys were saying a lot of money has to go to Israel. Happy about there being no more government shutdown. So, a lot of us are just looking at this and we look at the economy and we see that, houses are really hard to afford. Groceries are disrespectfully high. I mean, it's like, how are our taxpayer dollars just going to the military and defense spending? And why are we constantly like just poking on other countries and starting not wars, but situations that could be considered war if you're looking at the death involved of it? You know what I mean? Like what do you call it when two countries are adversaries or in some kind of conflict and one country starts killing the people of the other country? Not war, because we're not at war. We're just killing people. That's what we've said about Venezuela and a lot of other conflicts. So
correct me if I'm wrong though, with this whole entire Democratic, with the DHS funding bill that's going on. A lot of Democrats actually was like voted against it, if I'm correct, because they were so they were basically saying that they're voting against it because they didn't have any clause that actually in the bill saying that enforces the Republicans to actually do reform when they do have to revisit it. So technically speaking, the Republicans don't necessarily have to talk about reform when in the next 2 weeks. They just have to talk about the funding. Is that correct?
They really don't have to do anything. The reason why the House Democrats were saying none of us are voting for this is because they're essentially saying we agreed to negotiate. But at the end of that 2-week period, there's a real chance nothing comes of it. The Republicans don't agree to any reforms, and the conversation just becomes just open the government.
Right.
Why are you guys going to have the government shut down again because of this? It's fine. We're working on it. You guys are being dramatic about ICE. They didn't get any guarantees that any reform was going to come up from it, just that they were going to talk about it. So, exactly.
So, technically speaking, in 2 weeks, we could still be in a shutdown.
We could be right back here.
We could be right in the same position. And because the Republicans control majority of the House, if they all agree to just pass the bill saying, hey, we're just going to fund the ICE anyway, there's no reform that could possibly happen. So this was kind of like almost like unimportant, really.
I would say that they considered it a win because the Senate Democrats and the president, Trump, they all talked about it to get to the consensus that even let it go to the House. So the Senate, it starts there, at least it started here this time, and then it went over to the House. Technically it started in the House, but then the man died, the protester died in Minnesota, and the Senate Democrats got hold of it and said, hey, we are not going to vote to keep the government open. We're not going to vote on this spending package unless we take DHS funding out and talk about how we get ICE under control. They've gone too far. They need some guardrails. And that's what they ended up working with Trump on. It's to say, okay, we will take the DHS funding out. You guys approve that, send it back over to the House. Now the House has to approve it to go to the president's desk for him to sign it and for it to be a thing, government shutdown averted. So the Democrats were saying when it got to the House, we're not voting on this at all because we don't believe you guys are going to actually be serious. There's nothing to enforce you guys to say we will put in guardrails for ICE. We just have to talk about it. So none of us are voting on it, which is why they needed all the Republicans to support it, which is why people were calling Thomas Massie a traitor for not supporting it, which is why he told y'all what they plan to spend the money on.
I respect him for being transparent, though.
Yeah.
I respect the transparency. Like, look, y'all can hate me, but like, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, please, don't hate me. Just read. Now,
Yeah.
would you want this? Do you want this? Like, so I respect that transparency for sure.
Because I know that not everybody will agree with some of the things he wanted to do or didn't want to do, or the things that he thought it was crazy to spend money on. But maybe you think, okay, it's great that we spend money on that. It's not about whether or not you agree. It's that what kind of my argument was from the beginning, which is we're all looking at DHS. What else are they agreeing to that has the bipartisan support that's not really getting a lot of attention right now? And when you have a government that's in debt and you have people who are struggling here, it is hard to watch billions and billions and billions of dollars go to other countries when we could use it really here.
Right. Yeah, we got to look into that. We can't keep funding Egypt. We just can't.
what
We
is-
just can't.
what
We
is
just
it?
can't.
What is your beef with
Yeah,
Egypt?
what's the beef?
Specifically?
Yeah, what?
Who else would I have to beef about? Who else would I have to beef on? I don't know. Y'all let me know. I'm not gonna say anything.
I wish you would, because I am perplexed. I'm getting really good at this, and you lost me. You really lost me on this one.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, if you ask the U.S., the answer legitimately is just national security. This is our foreign policy. These are our regional partners there in the Middle East. We need them to make sure that they can defend themselves. We need to make sure that they can beef up their, military and their defense and whatnot. And that it just is what it is. You know what I mean? They need the money. We got the money. We don't have the money, but apparently we got the money, and we're going to send it to them. And is what it is. Yeah. I can say that the U.S. and Iran are apparently going to try to talk it out on Friday, even though things were looking like they were about to get a little hot out there.
It was.
If you didn't know, the U.S. forces shot down an Iranian drone because they were saying it aggressively approached an American aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea where they are on Tuesday. And I actually found some video, which I thought was really interesting, only because every time I say armada when I'm talking about this with my friends or aircraft carriers, people don't really know what I mean. So this is not a live video of the situation right now in the Middle East. This is just some stock video that I found that gives you an example of what an aircraft carrier is. It's literally something that can carry aircrafts. It's huge. It's a warship. So this is kind of the situation in the Middle East right now. And as far as this scenario, the ship was approximately 500 miles from the Iranian coast, and officials say that drone approached them with unclear intent. So a stealth fighter jet took off from the warship out there, from the aircraft carrier out there, and shot down the drone in self-defense to protect the aircraft carrier and its personnel. Nobody was hurt. They didn't have any, it was unmanned. So, there's no casualties here. And the U.S. didn't have any equipment damaged or anything. But there were also claims that there was what was it? It was something else. There was a U.S. ship of some sort. Yes, there was I just found it in my notes. The Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, targeted a U.S. flagged, U.S. crewed merchant vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. And apparently the Central Command out there was saying that 2 boats and a drone approached that ship at a high speed and threatened to board it and seize the tanker. So then a U.S. guided missile destroyer pulled up and escorted that, with the Air Force providing air support so that tanker could proceed safely. But people are looking at this stuff and being like, all right, what's going on out here?
Yeah, it looks intense, but it's not. They sent a drone. We sent a jet to go shoot down the drone. Like, it's not a comparison out here. You know what I'm saying? We don't have much to worry about.
So NBC News cited the Tasnim news agency, which said that they have an informed source who said that drone was just out there carrying out a routine and lawful mission in international waters. They were engaged in recon, monitoring, and imaging, which is considered a normal and legal activity. Again, the U.S. said, y'all were coming in a little too hot, too far, too fast. We didn't know what your intent was, so we shot it down.
Hey, you got to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, bro. You got to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. I respect it. You got to stay ready.
Was you a little too close
Yeah.
over here?
We don't know what kind of intentions y'all got, bro.
Right. And it is what it is. So there are still talks scheduled, even with all of that and the uncertainties of what's happening in the water. Iran's president actually posted on X saying that they are down to talk. They said, in response to the request of friendly governments in the region to reply to the proposal of the president of the United States for negotiations, I have instructed the foreign minister that should an appropriate atmosphere free from threats and far from unreasonable expectations exist, he should prepare the ground for fair and equitable negotiations based on the principle of dignity, wisdom, and expediency within the framework of national interest. So that says to me, people who were in the region, other governments in the region were asking them, hey, please respond to the United States and try to work something out, try to negotiate with them. So they've already said that if this gets hot for them, it's going to explode into a regional war. Mm-hmm. So, of course, everybody in the region is like, can you please try to work this out as best you can? And they've ended up deciding that they were going to do this in Oman. There were different countries that had offered up their land to basically do this on, and Turkey was in the conversation. But Iran reportedly requested to go to Amman instead of Turkey, so that's where it's going to happen. And I think that it's mostly interesting because when you see him messaging about wanting to do this with dignity and respect and all that, just positive words, things that make them sound like they are trying to be honorable and admirable and noble in this process, you just don't know if that's real or not. Because you got some people saying that these people are evil and oppressive and President Trump, please come save us. Other people are saying, the United States is about to start a whole war for no reason other than their own interests.
Yeah, I get it. But like at one point in time, Iran was making threats to us, and they was talking real tough and really big. What lowered your tone? That's how I view it as. I see it as they seen that we were actually about that action, and we kind of lowered their tone. They showed a little bit more respect. Like, okay, we recognize y'all as the big dogs. We recognize y'all as the big dogs, and let's just choose diplomacy. Let's do that now because you just shot down one of our drones. Let's just choose diplomacy, please. I see what you can do.
To your point, I do think that the fact that nuclear talks are even happening right now is because they see the pressure right off the coast. Like they're a couple hundred miles off the coast. The fleet, the whole armada is right there. It's a bigger one than they sent to Venezuela. And there was a huge one around Venezuela. I wish I would have remembered this and I would have shown you what all they had. But they had a lot. They had like 15,000 troops outside of Venezuela. They had a lot. So I can show you, though, another tweet from the president, another ex-post from the president, said, if the people of Iran face hardship and difficulties in their lives, one of the main reasons for it is the long-standing enmity and inhumane sanctions imposed by the United States government and its allies. Any aggression against the supreme leader of our country is tantamount to all-out war against the Iranian nation. I took that to mean, and this is January 18th. This was, a couple days ago, it was before all of this. But he's saying, like, this is the situation we're in is kind of the United States' fault. The Treasury Secretary, I played his sound. He straight up said, yes, we helped this happen. Scott Bessent said, the Trump directed me to really put the pressure on the economy, and it worked. The banks failed. Their real failed, and people started protesting. Things are going great. That was the plan for them. So there's merit to what he's saying. But to the last part of the anything should happen to our president, it's going to be an all-out war, they just saw them kidnap a president.
Yeah.
Flash capture a president, whatever word you want to say. So they're thinking like this could get hot for us for real too.
Yeah. Like I said, it lowered their tone. And for them to sit here and make it seem like it was America that did all this, I just can't get behind that completely because I've seen multiple different reports of how the Iranian government handles their citizens when they start to rebel or protest. Thousands of people being killed, unalived. It's just like, I can't really take it as you just putting the blame on another country because the way you handle it, of course, you're going to have interference from other countries. We get it all the time. But the way you handle those people in your country says a lot also. So I can't sit here and make it seem like it's all America's fault. Even if we were out there, the way they killed these people, I don't agree with.
How did they kill?
Killed.
Oh, okay.
Because again, we still have those multiple different reports. The latest one I've seen was about 30,000 people being killed in the protest. But again, that's just the latest report. There's no actual backing behind that. But the fact that I'm hearing multiple different reports of people dying by the masses is kind of shady to me.
Their government says that there's been 3,000 plus people die. Other people have said 6,000 adjacent numbers. Other people have said 30 to 40,000 people died in those protests. So the numbers truly were all over the place. I still haven't seen an updated count. But 3,000, as we were talking about, would still be more than our 9/11 incident. So it's still a lot of people that's very consequential out there. But, you got to now talk to people who they claim are responsible. Because if you say we helped start the protests in general, kind of becomes more plausible to me that you also might have started doing something within those protests as well. We don't know who it was, because we don't know.
Yeah,
but they say that there's paid protesters here, there's paid aggravators here. Is the same thing happening over there? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out on it for sure. But
We shall. But moving here closer to home, man, we're going to give you a little update on the Epstein files because we care about this. Even if nobody else wants to care about this and just let these people off the loose, we're not. So this is actually a crazy update that I know nobody saw coming. There is a new CBS News contributor who's reportedly all over the Epstein files. And I'm saying he was brought in to be the new contributor on January 27th. And by the 30th, surprise, he is reportedly in the files more than 1,700 times.
1,700?
1,700 times, according to the report. So we're talking about Peter Attia, and he's actually an MD. So this is somebody who, is not nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
Has some intelligence to him, has some degrees behind him. And there were reportedly a lot of messages that looked very bad, including crude and tasteless messages with him and Jeffrey Epstein. And there was a email apparently where Attia jokes about.
Yeah, how do you say it? Say
yeah.
it the right way.
The female
Bottom half.
What makes one a female?
Yes.
We've got certain situations.
Be careful with that. What makes someone a female?
All right.
Let me stop playing.
All right.
But you get it.
The joke was that they were low carb.
Yeah.
And so he also had an email exchange that said that, the biggest problem with becoming friends with Jeffrey Epstein, it was that his life was just so outrageous and yet he can't tell a soul. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Now, what does that mean?
Because what can't you tell us?
Now, according to him, he says that it just looked wrong. We have a little piece of what he said on X about this, and he was basically saying, like, I was not involved in any criminal activity. My interactions with Epstein had nothing to do with what he is accused of. I was never on his plane, never went to his island, never present at any sex parties, but he's just sorry that he put himself in the position that it looks like it looks to the rest of us. So now CBS is trying to figure out what to do. Do we let him go? Do we not? So it's still a mess, and we're going to have our eye on it. But we do have to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Hot 97 News. When we left you before the commercial break, we were talking about that new CBS contributor who was just shown to be all up in those Epstein files days after he was brought in to be that new contributor. So management is like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Scrambling. Not HR. The publicists over there are probably going crazy right now, trying to scrape this up under the rug, bro, or at least trying to fix it.
Yeah.
It's probably going nuts right now.
Listen, because I think that, there was a whole effort to not be woke and not let cancel culture just cancel people. But at the same time, if I know that I was in really good with Epstein and I know these files are dropping, like, I don't even know what I would do right now. Like, I'm so happy I'm alive now and not alive in circles back then, because I feel like anybody who is like in that generation plausibly could have been in these circles if they were rich or famous or anything and could have just gone to a party.
On accident.
Yeah.
Real talk. What I'm seeing is that Epstein was kind of like the cool kid amongst people. He was like almost upper echelon. Like, everybody wanted to go to his house. Everybody wanted to party with Epstein. And in that, you hear that there's, girls, like you said, music, it's gonna be live. You're gonna have a good time.
You're gonna have a good time.
But then you don't even know that, hey, these are young girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are illegal drugs or whatever else is there. It's a mess. It's crazy. Like,
they knew.
You think so?
Let's be real.
I think a lot, because I think a lot of people maybe didn't, but a lot of people must have.
I think a lot of people for sure knew, and they just was like, I don't care. That just goes back to the point of, once you get that type of money, you're already sick. Now you have the money to be sick and rich. There's no way. And here's the thing. This is just all of me. I'm saying this. This might be wrong, might be right. I don't know. This is just my theory. I think that they all knew. I think they went over there. They knew that those women were underage. I think they knew that, the drugs that they were doing were getting shipped in from wherever. I think they knew all of this. Did they care? No, because they had the money to erase it.
Yeah.
They had the money to not get in trouble from it. So when you're doing those type of things and you got all the money in the world, you don't care about getting in trouble because you know that trouble is never going to come knocking at your door. And if it does, you hand them a check.
Now, is it possible that like billionaires may be on drugs and just wanting to have a good time? Because I heard Elon Musk in his emails that he mentioned, he was like, yo, I just need to decompress. I need to relax when he was sending the emails, alleged emails over to Epstein. I just need to relax, decompress. Maybe they're on drugs or they're already arriving to the island on drugs and not really able to see that the girls are underage or something like that. And then once you do find out, once you wake up from whatever happened, you find out that the girls are on drugs. Now it's like, dang, he has all this information on me. It's like, I kind of have to maintain this in order to still be in his good graces. Maybe. I don't know. Because I see that with Diddy, because people was waking up with Diddy because it was on drugs and didn't know that they was with Diddy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so it's like one of those things. And then they kept on going and kept on doing it because he had all this dirt on them.
You know, it would be interesting actually if they were in situations where they were like just drugged out of their mind and either knew it or didn't know it, but woke up the next day and all of a sudden I got pictures of you with and now, you know, I pretty much own you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what the accusations have been. Of course, the Justice Department has said he doesn't have any clients. Nobody's going to jail. That's what I think is just the most strange thing about all of this and why people aren't more concerned about this. Because a lot of the sentiment I'm seeing is like, why are we still talking about the Epstein files? What do you mean we're talking? Like, why are we still talking about the fact that the richest freaking people among us and the people potentially in governments here and across the world are potentially doing things to children?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody went down for sex trafficking. 2 people go down for sex trafficking and they have no clients. They were sex trafficking to nobody.
Yeah.
You got all these files and nobody's going to jail. You haven't seen anything that implicates anybody. Yet you're still trying to have the Clintons come and testify about what they know, even though you said, you know, this is a case closed situation. Then I hope you bring in Trump, who's all over the files. I hope you bring in Elon Musk. I hope you bring in all these people. Bring in Bill Gates. You had Melinda Gates. I don't know if you saw her, but she was basically doing an interview saying, you know, I divorced him for a reason and a lot of things were happening that I just wasn't happy about.
Right.
And it's like, are all these people going to come in and testify? Because how is nobody going to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was crazy because even Todd Blanche, our deputy attorney general, he was like, it's not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein.
Right.
What is going on? What do you mean? You're partying with somebody that was a pedo.
Well, I mean, to his point, it isn't a crime to party with a person. That's not the crime that he was committing.
Fair.
Like the crime that he were committing was like, you know, having things that happen with, you know, underage people. So yeah, it's not a crime to party with Epstein.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not a crime at all. But what was happening was a crime.
Where I'm looking at that is, yes, it's not a crime to party with a pedo, but how you don't want to look into anybody who was partying with said pedo?
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, at least just so we can get it out the way and check all of you people. You know, and just like Russell Wilson popped up and said, hey, this is exactly what this is. This is what it's not. I got the explanation. I'm hopping out right now. And that's what I said. If I'm in those files,
100%.
or if I know Jeffrey Epstein, I'm letting y'all know right now. This is what the situation is. There's no, why are we talking about this?
Exactly.
Why do you guys care about this? What do you mean?
Exactly. And that is the reason why I think a lot of these people did what they said. I mean, that's in these things. There's no way y'all are not. There's too many files. It's too much information. There's too much footage. There's too much for me to not sit back and be like, bro, y'all didn't do this. No, y'all did. And for you to diverge everything, oh, I wasn't with Epstein, or I wasn't. Dog, you look guilty. That's why I respect Russell Wilson for getting in front. Like you said, he hit it right on the head. No. But also to that point, if you did do it, why would you say you did it? They would never come out and be like, hey, I was in the files. That was me. Yep, I was with them girls. Yep, I was doing this. Yep, I was. Nobody is going to do that. I get why. It makes sense. It's a terrible act. You guys are sick. But you got caught. Time to fess up, player. Time to fess up.
Because it is the fact that people were saying, oh, I never knew Epstein. I never did anything. And then they're getting caught in 4K in these DOJ drop, which some are fake and we don't know which ones are fake, but just know that wink, wink, some of these are fake and some of these are real and you don't know which ones, which is ridiculous. But like at the same time, yeah, after you have made it clear that you never knew Epstein, never talked to that man, never anything, and then there are emails with you in 4K, typing back and forth hundreds of times, thousands of times, a couple of times, whatever it may be. Why did you lie? You don't think that makes you look sus? And nobody cares? Like, America is just moving on. There are other people in other countries who are getting grilled right now about their associations with Epstein. I actually saw it on, I think, the BBC this morning, where I think in somewhere, Starmer, or somebody was getting
official,
grilled.
right?
It was an official.
Yeah.
Why isn't that happening here? This is crazy. But, you know, we have our eye on this. In the meantime, another story that's not really giving that much attention is what is happening with Israel and Gaza. So there is an update, and we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. The Rafah crossing was reopened, and this is the crossing that's going to let people from Gaza into Egypt. This is a way to get out of Gaza that doesn't have to cross into Israel at all. Of course, there's still some security concerns since, you know, what happened. And so now, Palestinians who are trying to make it through that newly reopened Rafah crossing say they're getting treated terribly by the Israeli soldiers who are out there. Mind you, this is kind of what they're dealing with here. This is a United Nations photo of Gaza. And there's a lot of areas that have literally just been blown to smithereens, which is crazy. And so some people, thousands actually, tens of thousands actually, people out there have health issues or just other reasons why they need to get out of there and get to some medical aid. And there were people also who left for medical aid or left for whatever reason who are trying to get back into Gaza because that's where they live. That's where they're from. Mind you, some people are still living in tents, but they still are saying, like, this is my home. This is my land. This is where I'm going back to. This is where the rest of my family is. So we want to go back. So there are a few women who were trying to go back into Gaza through that recently reopened crossing who said that they were blindfolded, handcuffed, interrogated, threatened, and humiliated by the Israeli troops who were there trying to go after basically anybody who was trying to come in and run security. So they were doing this for a security check, which makes sense. You know, we've got to make sure you're not bringing in anything crazy, which they said that they weren't letting these people bring in almost anything. Like, they took kids' toys, they took all electronics, they kind of just let them bring in like the clothes on their back and like maybe a bag. But yeah, they said that they were treated awfully.
Wait, so what's the I guess what's the gist of this Rafah crossing? Like, what's the why is it there? What's the purpose? The purpose is to get from, you know, Israel to Iran, right?
Gaza to Egypt.
Egypt. So why? What, like, I don't know why it's there though. Is it
so
a purpose?
Like Gaza, they've always called Gaza kind of like an open air prison. It's like there were like millions of people who live there and not many ways out.
Okay.
And so this Rafah crossing was like a lifeline. Like, they got to go into Egypt. They got to travel freely
to
an extent. And during the war with Hamas, Israel captured that Rafah crossing and said, cutting it off, y'all aren't coming in, coming out. Because remember, they were going after Hamas. They said, we're going to kill all the terrorists who did this to us, the terrorist attack that happened in October of 2023. So they captured that, and that cut off that Rafah crossing. So humanitarian aid couldn't get in, people couldn't get out, people who had gone couldn't get back in. And so this was something that was tied to the ceasefire. They said, hey, like, as part of this ceasefire negotiation, the fighting is supposed to stop. You got to open up that Rafah crossing to let people in and out again. And Israel said, well, we're not going to do that until we get all the hostages back. Some of these hostages were like under rubble. So that finally happened last week. They just reopened the Rafah crossing. And this is the account of a few people who are saying, we're trying to get back in now that it's reopened, and we're getting blindfolded, handcuffed, and just, you know, humiliated. One woman said that she was questioned about Hamas and other matters in Gaza that they had no connection to and didn't know about. She said that they pressured her to act as an informant for the Israeli military, and she was just trying to go home to her family. She said there was no beating, but there were just insults and threats and psychological pressure. So, of course, Israeli officials were asked about this, and they said that they have no incidents of inappropriate conduct or mistreatment or apprehensions or confiscation of property by the Israeli security establishment known to them. And the other agencies that are kind of over that security process said that they just didn't respond to questions about that woman's allegations. So these are just allegations, but they're pretty serious allegations.
Very much serious. Very serious. What they're doing is, they're playing government 101, and I feel like we've seen this before where governments have like created an uproar. Like think about the Red Scare and communism. Like everybody was a communist. That's basically what Israel is doing right now. Everybody is a Hamas agent if you enter in here without coming through us. It's one of those things that's like unnecessary. We obviously see what you're trying to do, and if you think of Rafah, it's like a border, right?
It's like a crossing. Yeah,
it's a border. So people may not even be getting resources to Gaza because they can't get through this border. It's so sick and it's so sad. It's heartbreaking, actually.
There are actually pictures of just a bunch of humanitarian aid trucks on the Egypt side that aren't being allowed in either. They probably got to go through all of that. So, speaking of just the situation in Gaza, like if you can't get out to get aid and help and specifically medical attention, there are humanitarian groups who are there, but there are 37, like we were talking about yesterday, who are getting kicked out of Gaza for not giving up a list of their staff. They have international staff and Palestinian staff members, and there was basically a new regulation that went into effect that said, hey, you guys have to provide personal information about your staff if you want to be here. And some of these groups were saying, we don't want our staff to be intimidated or just get detained or just get attacked in any kind of way. And so since they didn't want to give up that information, they were basically told you got 60 days to get up out of here. And one of those groups, MSF, Medicine Sans Frontiers, it's like Doctors Without Borders, but it's like in French or something. They were saying that they've been accused of having people who are secretly Hamas, but actually, parading as staff members for them. They denied it, but that's what Israel had said. And they have done a lot of work. In fact, we have a screenshot of some of the stuff that they've done out there. They said since the war started in October 2023, first of all, 1,700 health staff have been killed, including 15 of their guys. But that in 2025, they provided like 800,000 consultations. They've been birthing babies out there. They've supported 1 in 5 hospital beds. And this is just stuff that you can't replace in the situation that they're in right now.
So they're doing good.
They're doing a lot of good work. This is Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah, so why do they want to, I don't understand why they want to.
Israel's concerned that there may be Hamas members in their staff members.
Oh, so okay. Now I get it.
So they're saying if you don't want to give us your staff list, you got to go.
I get it.
Because we need to make sure that none of them are Hamas. These humanitarian groups are saying they're not Hamas. They're just our staff members. And if we go, you're going to take a lot of people out who are able to care for the people who are there. There's like 20,000 people who are sick or wounded there. So
it sounds like they're the terrorists for trying to get them out and not help people out. That's what it sounds like.
You can't say that too loud now, Rondell.
Oh, my bad.
Don't say it too loud.
Oh, well.
People have been accused. I mean, it depends on who you ask. If you ask some people, Israel feels like they're doing this for security. We're never going to let what happened on October 6, 2023 with that terrorist attack happen ever again. We're going to go to whatever lengths we need to go to kill Hamas and kill threats to Israel. Other people would say, tens of thousands of people have died as you guys have been going after Hamas, and people have been accused of starving. People have been accused of basically not being allowed to have aid trucks go in and help people. So who's really the bad guy? It depends on who you ask. You know what I mean? Can tell you that the killing out there has not stopped either. That was also a prerequisite of a ceasefire. But the recent reports that I saw just this morning was that an Israeli strike killed 21 people, including 6 kids. And in that case, it was an Israeli tank shelling and airstrikes that killed 21 Palestinians in Gaza on Wednesday. And this is including a medic who rushed in to help the victims of the strike. And this happened in Khan Yunis. And the Israeli military said that they launched that strike in response to militants opening fire against Israeli troops who were operating near that line that they have that neither side is supposed to cross right now. And then an Israeli soldier was severely injured by the militant fire. So, in response, 21 people die, including 6 kids.
Yeah, so from what I've heard is Israel has really strong regard for their people's lives.
Totally.
Like, they're really serious about even just getting dead bodies out of Israel.
Totally.
Like, they want dead bodies. They really hold like life dear to them, Jewish life or Israeli life. I'm sorry, Israeli life close to them. So that's why I guess that's why they're like taking X amount of lives in exchange for the one. Is that what you was basically saying? Like they took 21 lives because one person got shot?
That is what the reports say.
That is crazy. That is crazy. But it's just how they do things over there, I guess.
You know, an airstrike doesn't have like a name on it.
Yeah.
You know?
You just drop it and go.
So it's like anybody who's in this range is going to get it, you know, whether that's a man, woman, or a child.
Right.
And you know, for them, that is a reasonable response to what they said was an attack that happened on their guys first.
That is the definition of get it back in blood. That is the definition.
I mean,
No, that
pools
is,
of blood.
that is the definition,
Pools
bro.
of
That
blood.
is terrible.
Yeah, it's sick.
It is hard to watch, you know. It's hard to sit here and watch all this happen and kind of feel a little helpless, kind of feel like, you know, what I mean, is anybody going to do anything to make sure this is safe for both parties?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure those Israeli soldiers want to go home
No,
to
for
their
sure.
families. And I know for a fact these Palestinians, a lot of them have nothing to do with this anyway and aren't terrorists and they're just dying anyway. So, you know, what do you do here? It's pretty nuts. So we will keep an eye on all that for you, especially because, again, I feel like the coverage on this is kind of dwindled.
Yeah, it hasn't. Yeah, it kind of died down a lot, actually. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was like, you know, freeze, you know, the whole,
Yeah.
So it's like, it died down a ton.
Yeah.
To where that was a huge thing. And
Yeah.
now people really don't talk about it.
Well, here at home, another crazy story that everybody is talking about. Apparently, Jill Biden's ex-husband is accused of murdering his current wife.
My dog. Jesus.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
that-
Mind you, he is 77 years old. His current wife, Linda Stevenson, is 64 years old. So this is another one situations where I'm like, you guys are too old. Like, you guys have lived all this time.
You want to go to jail now?
Like, now.
Now you want to go to prison? Okay.
Now.
All right.
So police say they responded to a domestic dispute call, and this actually happened back on December 28th, and they found Linda unresponsive inside the living room. And officers went in, they tried to save her life, but it just didn't work, and she was sadly pronounced dead right there at the scene. So they did an extensive investigation for weeks, and finally, yes, a grand jury just indicted Stevenson, her old husband.
I wonder if he like harbored hate or anything like that, because if my ex left me and then got with a president or somebody that was going to become a president, I'd be ticked off,
You know
bro.
what? I didn't even think of that,
Yes,
brother.
bro. I'd be
Actually thought that.
completely
I didn't even think of
bitter,
that.
completely jealous. You can't leave me and do better.
Do way better.
I mean, way better.
Upgraded. Upgraded.
This is levels to it. And you just broke the barrier. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, he said, I can't take out Joe. I'm going to take out you, girl. I'm taking he took all his aggression out on that woman, which is terrible, bro. Which is terrible.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That when I heard that, I was like, dang, I wonder if he was just like a bitter person because of that. Like, the whole time he's just thinking then you're hearing about him every day, like almost at one point in time, because he was the president and the vice president. So you're hearing about this man
That's right.
constantly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Every time you open a newspaper, you're seeing your ex-woman's name in the paper every single day. I'll be sick, bro.
Oh,
I'd
for
be
sure.
sick.
I didn't even think of that now that you say that, bro.
Bro, I'd lose it, bro. I can't even lie.
Yeah, I would lose it too. I would be the biggest hater, bro. Oh my gosh. You know what? He probably wasn't even a Trump fan before this. We don't know this man.
Yeah.
What if he wasn't even a Trump fan before this? And then as soon as he was like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Voting for Trump.
You know what? But Joe Biden did get so much hate that he was probably sitting back like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or he might love Joe Biden. He could be totally innocent in these streets.
Yeah, he could.
You know what I mean?
Low key.
I doubt he voted for Joe Biden.
I would
not vote for Joe Biden.
If that was my ex, man, I ain't voting for that man. What, bro?
He did not vote for Joe Biden, man.
I'm gonna try to figure out a way to vote 5 times for so I can vote against him. What, for sure? That's wild though.
No, yeah. The most random thing I've heard. And we've heard a lot of random things lately.
I wonder how she feels about that.
I know.
I wonder how she feels about like her ex being an alleged murderer. Like
besmirching her good name.
Yeah.
Because, you know, now everybody's saying Jill Biden's ex is doing, and she's like, dang, I ain't thought about this man in years. I have been busy.
Like, when was the last? So when did they? So does it say when they got a divorce? It doesn't say.
I think they got a divorce 5 years after dating. Like they met when they were like 18.
Yes.
She was like 20 something years old.
Okay.
And then they got a divorce 5 years after
So this was
their wedding.
Bruh,
ancient history.
Ancient. Like,
Ancient
ain't
history.
never heard of this. Ain't even thought of this man. Or
Yeah.
what? Or what if? What if this is just my own conspiracy brain works? What
Right.
if they were secretly talking on the side?
Oh, nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what if, you know what I mean?
No freaking way.
And then you know, Jill was maybe, you know, trying to see him on the side.
No
I'm just saying,
freaking
that's just where my
way.
conspiracy brain works. That's just how my mind works.
Jill Biden is kind of the baddie as far as,
She is kind of cute,
you know,
low key.
seniors. She is senioring.
Yeah.
Okay. You know.
How old is she? How old is Jill Biden now?
I don't know.
She up there though.
All right.
She is up there. Though.
Don't do it.
74.
She's 7. That's a.
Listen.
Hey, I don't know.
Pull that up just one more time.
One more
just
time. Let me
just so
see.
y'all can see how a 74-year-old operates in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
country.
Let me see.
Because
Let me
you're not
see.
going to do but Jill,
Yeah.
Jill B.
Yeah, that is
like that.
That is definitely not no spoiled milk right there, boy. That is
Crazy.
that.
She kind of has a
That's
type
crazy.
though. She kind of has a type though.
All right, you know what?
I'm just saying. She kind of has a type. She kind of has
So
a type.
unserious.
It's very unserious.
But you know who is serious? Trump is very serious about building this ark in America. So he randomly dropped a photo of India's ark on Monday saying, India's beautiful, triumphal ark. That's all it said. And he said that ours will be the greatest of them all. That's it. And everybody was like, what is he talking about here? Because he has been mentioning an ark. In fact, you know, there is that ark that everybody knows that's in France. And that's the Arc de Triomphe.
Right.
Well, Trump is saying that he's going to literally make an arc of Trump. And these are some of the renderings that we've seen him post about this. I think he's very freaking serious. He says that apparently he's done an interview with Washington Post where he says that he would like this Independence Arch that could rise as high as 250 feet.
Good God.
So that would be, I mean, major. If you know Washington, D.C., that's huge. The White House is about 70 feet. The Lincoln Memorial is about 100 feet. So a 250-foot structure would be crazy, would tower over both. Both of them combined.
Yeah.
And he's going to be hiding all the Epstein files right in that ark. All the Epstein files going to be right in that ark. I know why he building that ark. He built it so he can start hiding stuff in there. He ain't slick.
I think he said though, he was like, "Oh, this is going to be the biggest arc because this is the best country in the world." So he's like saying, "Hey, bro, this is going to be the best."
Why are we in such
Because we the
competition?
best.
Why
I
is
wanna
he
know
so,
who's- yeah.
Why are we so competitive? Why is he so...
Woo, 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 America. It's America over here, man. Nobody
right.
could be better than us.
At the same time, what if we had woo 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 the lowest grocery prices of anybody in the
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
Woo 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 the lowest prices housing.
Woo, woo, woo. Free healthcare.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Free education.
Free college.
Woo, woo, woo. Free...
Dog.
Better than anybody in the
We the
world.
best. We the best ever, man. America's so great, man. Oh, my God. Bro, we suck, bro.
But
You got
we
a
could
point.
have an arch. We could have the best arch.
Go right up under that arch, take a picture, and keep moving on with your life. That's it. That's all you're going to get.
And honestly, it would be for people in DC and tourists.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be for is anybody taking a trip to go see an arch?
Hey, man, what y'all doing today? Y'all want to go to the
wanna
ark?
go
Y'all
drive
trying to,
6 hours?
Y'all trying to go to the ark? No. Nobody's going to your ark, bro. Like, no.
But I don't know if you've noticed, they've been doing a lot of renovations at the White House. And I ask who is funding all this stuff. They renovated a bathroom, put marble all up in and through it. Look at this.
Crazy.
That's a nice bathroom, though. I ain't going to hold you.
It's a nice bathroom. He did a wonderful job. They don't call him the builder in chief for nothing.
Yeah,
'Cause,
that
you know,
is-
he knows how to build a bathroom. Not a bathroom. He knows how to build. I'm
that's-
never going to see that.
That's noise.
I mean, we're
Beautiful.
looking at it right now, so, I mean, we
Noise.
do.
This is it. This is our
we-
interaction.
We see it. You, know
You
what
at
I mean?
home, this is the closest you're going to get to that bathroom.
That's a
Bro,
nice.
that's a basic toilet though. That's a basic toilet for such a nice room.
Where's the bidet?
Right.
To the naked eye, it is. That toilet rise up by itself, go down by itself, probably warm your butt. It probably do all kinds of stuff.
Wait till we tell you about the arch, or not the arch, the ballroom. We just don't have any time. So we're going to have to table that for another day. We do have a lot of Atlanta news coming at you, and we will be right back after this break.